Welcome to Eligible Monster, where I sit down with Dan, Natalie, and myself, and we chat about various video games news, stuff happening in video games. We go over various lists. Basically, we try to create a pseudo two to 5 time a week show where we just talk about video games. Because if we try to do Let's Plays, YouTube demonetizes it. Go creators! Anyway, today we're going to talk about Final Fantasy XIV.
Damn, what a strong start. Yeah. I support this message. Yeah, 14, right?
Yep, 14.
Yes.
So Final Fantasy 14 had its big expansion come out, Shadowbringers.
That's what happened.
Dan's wearing the 14 shirt right now.
I am, actually.
You're like 2 expansions late. No, I'm kidding.
That's one expansion
Only one.
late.
That's
Just
fine.
one.
Yeah. That's passable, I guess.
But no, so yeah, I mean, they know that we all play it. We thought we'd make a video to come back. We had a little bit of a break time for 4th of July, but we want to get back into the swing of getting constant videos out. So we're talking about this. We're going to talk about Destiny later in the week and various other things. So Natalie, you go. So
he was looking directly at me, and I'm like,
well, actually,
Dan, how are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing good, Dan.
Yeah, how are you doing, Ben?
What I want to say real quick is it's actually a different viewpoint from all 3 of us for this game. Natalie is entirely focused on the story. That's all she really wants to know about.
Well, yeah, I used to be focused on other things, but yes. I mean, people know my stance on this game at this point.
Yeah.
It's just way too casual, So yes, I focus
Don't
primarily.
get too big of a head there.
I was just saying, it's casual, dude. Come on, we've talked about this.
No, it is. It
before.
has gone very
What the
casual.
hell?
Dan's big focus since we got to Cap has been glamour.
I have been.
Are you
And-
serious?
Oh, I've been trying to make my potato look amazing.
Okay, explain to me how glamour would be your focus when you're playing a potato in the first place. They're like this short, so you can't see anything.
Well, for one, whenever we raid, they all compliment each other on their glamours, but no one ever comments on mine.
'Cause we
So
can't
I'm
see
trying
you,
to
'cause
find one
you're so
that
small.
is good. Those characters, regardless of how close you have to get pretty close to actually see the glamour, and you can goddamn see mine, because I always have bright
You're so
colors.
small.
You're small,
I know.
and you have no boobs, so it's kind of awkward. You
I
don't know
know.
what to look
That's
for.
why it's a challenge, though. That's why it's a challenge, is I don't have clearly I can put my character in a skimpy outfit, and when people will go, hey, look, that's a skimpy outfit. No, mine, I have to go, all right, this is how we look. My potato looked like a pirate.
That's fair. Okay.
And I've put a focus towards gearing up for the end game, getting ready for raiding.
I am geared up.
I'm dragging you with me, but
Yes.
your focus has been glamour. If I'm not dragging you in, you're like, I'm either leveling dancer or I'm getting armor.
Well, also, to be fair, though, this is because roulettes, I get recruited. Gearing up, I get recruited. And if I do them without him, I get yelled at for not doing them with him.
He's a pocket healer.
It's not so much that I am voluntarily just doing it. It's more that other options to do things are either too time-consuming, MSQ roulette, taking me an hour long, or you would get mad at me for going without you, or I simply don't have access to the information like the hunts. I tried to do it, and no one says crap. And it's impossible.
This is why you join.
What do you mean
the
no one
link
says
shell.
crap? You came with me the whole day.
I know, but they were all you go like. That very, very rarely is someone actually calling out the hunts when I'm trying to do it.
Oh, you have to join hunt-specific
Yeah, you need
link
to-
shells.
yeah.
I know.
I'm in like 7.
I know. You always
How
tell
is
me.
7, Ben?
Huh?
The total link shell is 7. You
No,
can't be in
you can have
7.
14 now.
7 out of 14. You have 7 hunts Ellis's.
I have 5 on our server and 2 cross-world ones.
You have a problem, Ben.
What, the
But
other
here's-
day we
so
were
hold
playing...
on.
That's a
Here's the
problem.
thing, though. Here's the thing. So last expansion, I asked Benny, can I get invited to one of these? To which his response was, no, there's an unwritten rule that you don't ask to invite someone else to your link shell.
never said that.
Yes, you did.
You literally just have to shout, and you'll get invites.
No,
Yikes.
you got really mad at me when I asked
Who's
to
got
get
the
an
big
invite
head
to
now,
your-
Ben?
I don't remember that.
You got very upset with me, and I remember because we were at Ralger's Reach.
Wow.
Oh, no. I remember he said, I did not get upset with you.
Oh, here
You
we go.
said, no, he said, can I get an invite? And I said, it's almost impossible to get someone to actually invite, just shout when we go to the hunt. Because no one's actually like the leader of any of these hunt shells.
But they say stuff in the link shell for you to go to the hunt. I have nothing to take me there.
Right, no,
Anyway,
and I get you
that
over
is
there.
the reason why I don't do it when I'm
Yes.
just by myself. I do the glamour because it is easy.
But it's so funny, actually. So real quick, before we get into just as one of our weird adventures from a stream we had recently, before we go into what we all thought about, I thought it was hilarious that we were trying to do something, but the hunt shells kept going off. So we kept bouncing
Oh,
servers, and we eventually were just like on Midgar Stormer doing fates and stuff over there with them. It was like,
I know.
how did we even get here? We don't even know what's going on anymore. We're not even at home.
It was like Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. It was Benny and Dan and Kevin go to
other servers and get lost.
Natalie's dropping microphones.
I just slapped the hell out of Twitch. I was like, no. Sorry.
No audio.
So we had like a Harold and Kumar go to White Castle moment, just following fates, and Kevin got a frog head. But anyway,
he did get a frog head. It's true.
I don't.
So let's go to you because
Right.
Dan and I have been ranting for a minute.
Yes.
What is your opinions of Shadowbringers?
I feel like it's it's Final Fantasy. It's finally Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
That I remember and love, honestly. I mean, I feel like like I said before, Stormblood was just lacking in the whole fantasy element. It was
Right.
mostly political, and I think we can all
Very.
agree that was just, it was a hit or miss for some. For me, it was a complete miss, but this one is a complete hit.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was
Yeah.
hooked in the story.
I
from
would
the
even call
get-go.
this a critical hit.
It was a complete hit, and I feel like are we allowed to talk spoilers at all, or are we just keeping it a down low right now?
I would
Because
say let's keep it in a down low because it did just officially come out, and this is not a movie where you could have just watched it.
Or we keep it strict to like maybe the first zone spoilers.
Well, like I'd say the
Like
first 5 levels.
The first half, yeah.
Well, not even. I mean, it wasn't really spoilers related, but it's more like for me, it started shining like about halfway through, and then towards the end is when it just went from like 0 to 100
Yeah.
really
Oh, yeah.
fast.
It
And
ramps
then-
up.
Yes, and then the very last few fights, they were just like, oh, this is Final Fantasy, guys.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah.
And the bosses felt like legit purposeful, not
Yes.
just
Absolutely.
oh crap, they need a trial. This guy's big, put him in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it was.
There's a weird lull between like I'd say 77 and 79, but once you get 79, it just ramps, goes like 150 miles an hour to the ending at that point.
That's what I did personally. I started grinding like the first few levels up until I think 78
Yeah.
because I made my mistakes before in a previous suspensions, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do nothing but story, and then eventually hit a wall, and then just be like, well, now I have to just grind and wait. So I did
Right.
it right this time.
Yeah.
I grinded my way up to 78 and then just did nothing but story, which towards the end it was kind of heartbreaking because I was just XP was just hitting the floor because
Right.
I was already capped. But
Right.
that's besides the point. No, the story was incredible. I can't wait. I mean, they could essentially leave it there if they wanted, but I know they'll just keep going.
Oh, they
So,
got to keep going. There's so
yeah.
many unanswered questions still.
Yeah.
I do like what they
Yeah.
did with the story. I've said this before. 14, A Realm Reborn felt very much like it was like we're an MMO that happens to have a story, and Heaven's Sword they're like we're an MMO with a really good story,
Yeah.
and Stormblood was like we're an MMO. We've got like this political story which has its moments. And then with this one, it's almost because they were even promoting the trust system where you can bring in
Oh my
NPCs
God.
with you to
I
go
love
into the
it.
fights.
That's another thing I wanted to talk about. Just because I have yet to team up with an actual person the entire expansion besides the last fight, obviously
Yeah.
for obvious reasons.
Right.
But that's part of the reason why this expansion made it feel like a Final Fantasy because I didn't have to rely on people.
Yes.
I just went in with the NPCs and just did my thing, and it felt like a Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It's a
I didn't have to
multiplayer,
have
single
like
player game.
basically
Yeah.
and the interaction between NPCs made it feel like a Final Fantasy
Yes.
once again. And if there was real players, I feel like it would have taken away from the experience for me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I mean,
And I was gonna say I like the trust because also when you have the different characters because you get main story characters like Thancred,
Right.
Amphilia, all of them. Like you get those characters in the actual dungeons,
Yeah.
and they are the characters. Because you mentioned this that you did it at the
Media event.
the media event.
Oh, yeah.
But I was doing it and I saw it for the first time. There's a dungeon where like the floor falls out and you have to go across this line,
Yeah, I did
and
it.
you see one of the characters like tiptoeing like you can do this, you could do it. And I just thought it was great because it was like I'm in a dungeon but these characters are acting like they would. It's not just hey, here's an NPC with this cool skin, they're gonna do the dungeon wish. No, they actually talk, and I thought that was just a really nice addition to make it feel like a single player
Yeah,
Final
absolutely.
Fantasy game
Yeah.
because you felt like you were in a group of people just without the people,
Yeah.
like actual other people,
Yeah.
but you still felt like you were a part of a group.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
really liked that.
It's also at the very end of levels when they just all show up, all the NPCs at the very end. So it's like, hey, like they've seen what we accomplished. You
Yeah,
know?
they
It's
were
not
there.
just like a bunch
Yeah.
of people that were just like, hey, we just got it done without you guys, but
Right.
this is what happened, you know? No, they actually
Here's the
showed
Cliff
up.
Notes.
Yeah, basically.
I really like the trust system overall because now that we got to experience it and got to play with it, any mechanics that I had problems with, if you just did it with the trust, you could learn the mechanic.
That's
Because
what I did a lot of the time.
The trusts were almost like cheating. Like you'd go into a dungeon like, man, this is a really tough boss. Oh, the trust moved way early. Let me just go stand with them.
Right.
I think there was one specific thing where I was just not paying attention to them, and I got one shot at. I think it was like the very last dungeon, where there was the only time I actually died. Like they don't revive you; they're just like,
Oh no,
you're
you
dead now.
instantly get
yeah,
teleported
usually-
to
yeah,
the front if
Yeah.
you die as the
basically,
healer.
So that was a nice thing, you know, because it would have been cheating, honestly, if they were just like, hey, here's a raise.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm
then it
already-
would have been too easy.
Instant
They had to give you
Basically,
some
yeah.
challenge to go through the whole
Yeah,
thing.
that's
But
good.
I just like
That's
that.
good.
I just like that the trust from the AI that we saw. There's a few weird glitches, like in the
Yeah.
second dungeon. There's a tether system, and if you grab one of their tethers, they just kind of stand there and don't grab
Yes.
the other tether.
Yeah, yeah.
They only grab their specific tethers that they're programmed for.
Sometimes they just don't even care about. I mean, they're like mimicking role players. They're like,
Yeah,
ley
yeah.
lines. I'm just gonna stay
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
They're just like
They stole a run.
real player
They stole a
adjust.
run.
You're still like, what are you doing? There's a big. No, it's fine. I'm casting. It's fine. The hell.
But I did like because it's a good learning experience going through the game, and I feel like that's one thing this game is needed.
Yeah.
Because at no point were you ever told, oh, you need to do rotations and you need to do combos and you need to. I mean, if you aren't told things, you could be hitting one button the whole time, being like, well, I kill things. What does it matter?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I don't have to dodge because I can eat it and someone can heal me. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But with the trust, you actually have to learn. And I feel like they did a really, because I think this is one of the best starting points if you want to get into the game.
Oh,
because the way the
incredibly
story
so.
handles it, the way they teach you things, the way the trust teach you how a dungeon works, you're learning mechanics, you're learning how things work.
yeah.
I like that a lot, the way they handled that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we don't need mentors anymore, because if you go in there with them, they just teach you how to do it. And
Most of the time, mentors, being a mentor myself
don't
in
do
the
it.
game,
Too.
it's useless.
Yeah.
No one ever
kind of.
asks their opinions. If you
No.
try to give advice, everyone snaps at you.
Yeah. Yep.
And then most of the time, people have it just to have the crown next to their name.
That's
Yeah.
exactly why. Because a lot of people don't ask mentors because for the
That's
most
what I
part
did.
they're like, "What are you, an idiot?"
Yeah.
And it's like, "No, I'm a new player. You saw the green leaf, right?"
Right. I
Yeah.
try to help as much as I can, but a lot of times I try to help people. Like, no, leave me alone. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, whatever, you know?
yeah.
So I liked that system a lot. Once we've gotten to endgame, and this is where you kind of stop playing right now because you're waiting for the next story patch to drop.
I haven't even I beat the story. I went through the credits and then basically went through the like major bits after it, and then I don't even know where to go for the gear at this point.
Oh yeah, we need to show you where to get the new
Yeah,
dungeons.
I just stopped. I was like, all right,
You'll
this
like
is
the
good,
two new
this is a
dungeons.
good story. I'm
will.
just gonna leave it at that.
The last two dungeons are actually
last two
really
dungeons?
fun.
Yeah. So the expert dungeons is the same rotation we've always had. Welcome to your 3 dungeons you don't have to run until patch 5.1.
That's exactly that's what I mean.
So
To be fair, though, we are also the people that blitz down what was intended for like a week long or a week and a half
oh no, I know, yeah.
in 2 days.
No, and I agree with that. You have that to do. Hunts, I've been doing a lot more, and they've decided
Yeah.
to mix up the hunts because with the instance servers, and they've given us SSS and SSS ranks. So now we have more hunts to go after. It gives you more to do in that manner.
However, I do wish they were slightly easier to find.
The hunts?
I feel like hunts, honestly, it should not be based on a link shell. I think it should have its
That's
own
a community
thing.
decision.
But that's
It does. There is something in the game. If I don't know where it is. It came out with this expansion.
okay.
You have something in there where it will tell you the hunt is nearby and tell you where to go for it.
Okay, because that's my problem with that has always been my problem with the hunts is you're always like, I'm going on hunts, I'm doing all of this, and I'm like, at no point have I ever seen people like advertise to join a hunt loot. Like it's such a minuscule knowledge that I wasn't even aware that there were link shells to tell people about hunts.
I've
I
told
didn't-
you every time, and you never do it.
No, but that's just it.
Oh, I know.
What if someone doesn't have
You're
you?
not wrong.
Like that's what I'm trying to get.
I
at.
agree. In your situation, I think you're just being ignorant. But your points are very.
Shit.
Because I
I
told
guess
you.
someone's just lost their healer.
hey, what do you think I quit, man? A long time
Yeah.
ago.
What the hell? No, because I've told you multiple times. But every point you made is very valid because there is no way to see it. General populace doesn't know these link shells exist. Like you're right.
Like, 'cause-
you just ignore me.
No.
But everyone else, you're right.
This morning, I literally went to every single zone. First of all, I went to the party finder every now and then. I would see, is anyone doing a hunt? No.
Yeah.
Go to every zone, shout, hey, is anyone doing hunts? Does anyone have information on hunts? Nothing. Next zone. Nothing.
because-
like that's just it. Is there may be these link shells, but if I didn't have you of someone who's already in it, how am I supposed to join that?
So, and I actually agree with you on that.
I had
do.
I googled a Discord that I'm now a part of
what
that I don't
did
think is active.
personally is when you see a hunt and you see a bunch of people going to a hunt, of interest anyway, not like an A rank or whatever, like
Right.
an S rank. If you see a bunch of people in the same area, then you start shouting, does anyone have an invite to some link shell?
Yeah, but that was just it. It's like, while that is a possibility, it's the finding that first group.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
and
they're-
you're right. So the way the game structured hunts, it's supposed to be you go to a zone, you see one up, you'll do a shout, get a few people there, and you kill it.
Yeah.
The way the community has structured it, it's very much like Eureka, where they intended everyone
Yep.
to go into BA and go into Eureka. Go into BA. The community has turned it into nobody kills the hunts until they're all up. And then you get into a hunt train, and they spend like an hour killing every single one back to back to back.
Yeah.
The way to get into those link shells is you have to go to a hunt and you shout, I need a link shell invite. And what happens is a lot of those hunt shells will either have everyone as someone that can invite or no one that can invite, and it's one person. They're all weird, but no one runs the hunt link shell.
I know.
No, I know what you're saying.
I
and
feel like
and
it
I
should
agree.
be an easier solution to it.
There is none because of the way the community
I
did
have
it. It's
one,
just,
dude. I'll just get you in.
It-
Who cares? Take my
It's
spot.
just like the BA thing, though, where no one's paying attention until the hunts are called. No one's paying attention to the BA thing until the BA goes off. It's a community fix. It's not the game's situation.
Yeah, anywho,
Yeah.
that's a completely different thing. I will say
What I'm
about the
saying is that-
story itself, I am loving the amount of voiceover cutscenes.
Oh, yeah,
Oh
we
my
needed that
gosh,
so
it's
badly. Because
such
you
an
get invested in so
improvement.
much of the story.
You do, and there's so many different parts that I emotionally got invested.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And this is the first expansion that I have not skipped a single cutscene,
Mm-hmm.
even the non-voiced ones. I'll go through it fast,
Yeah.
but still skip. I've not skip cutscene at all.
Yeah, no,
until I
absolutely.
hit max
The
level.
voice
Yeah.
acting was definitely, and the budget went super high there because I found myself, before tackling the story, I found myself going back to the story raids. That's what gives you the most XP right now.
Yeah.
So I was running these, and it was like maybe 20% of the Praetorium was voiced over by Sid, and you could hear Sid. And it was probably their first gig or something, or like one of their
Right.
first gigs, and you can tell the difference between when they started to where they are today.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's incredible that growth, man. It's just, oh man. All the cutscenes gave me chills,
Oh, yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Well, so I was saying about what there is to do. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. So there is the hunt option. Regardless how you get into it, it's a pain in the butt.
There's
to
the
do.
hunt option.
The end game dungeon option.
Yep.
The ones that I find weird, the crafting has its own plot line, which I found a
It's
bit
good.
wonky. It's
You
good.
guys are the ones that are supposed
It's
to
good, but
build
they didn't
Ishgard.
make them. They're all lumped now. So it's like
Oh.
these three crafts are one thing, and it's like it's a variation on the custom delivery
I mean,
system.
that makes sense.
It's good. I like it, but it takes a little bit getting used to. It's not. We
Yeah.
haven't had anything like this up to this point.
I mean, that I will actually give it a shot because I'm wondering if it's one of those ones where it's for new players, it's going to be great, but because you have
Yeah.
a foundation already for those things, it may be different. So I'll look into that. And
There's the fate system, which I think is a great way to revitalize fates, where you have to kill so many in a zone and then it ranks it up.
oh yeah,
Yeah, the shared fate system. If you kill 6 of them, you can get riding speed increase in a zone. If you kill 60, you can get bardings and minions and stuff.
That's really good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's a
And-
reason to do the fates.
Yeah, and also they give you pretty decent XP because every time I was on
Yeah.
my way to a quest, if one fate was popping, I was like, well, I may as well.
Yeah.
And it was actually a really good amount of XP. So
yeah.
The thing that I don't understand the purpose of is the ability to level up the trust. And the only thing I can think of the reason that's there.
that's what you unlock after beating
Yeah,
everything.
they all
right?
become level 71
Have you
again, and you
tested
can
it?
level them all, but they level very slowly unless
Yeah.
there's some. I haven't done one. It says that it gives 2.5 million, and all the characters need 13 million to get to level 72.
Then
So
what
I was kind of like,
happens?
that just sounds like a lot of dungeon running to level up trust. Now I'm wondering if you're going to need those for the patches if you want to use the trust.
Or do they-
This is the answer for someone like you who enjoyed the trust. So now you can work on that more.
Do you want to
Do
know
they-
what I think it is?
What?
I think it's for alts. I think it's so that you've done the entire trust thing up to the max level. You've used them. You've done all of that. But now, if you were to go in on an alt at level 71, all of those characters are technically 78 to 80.
Oh.
And this would allow them to be down at your level as well. So it's the legit kind of feel of going through with these additional characters. And I could see that potentially being the reason why. And then eventually we'll get kind of the Mog Station item, kind of like with your retainers where you can max out their level.
Yeah.
They'll do that with the trusts. That way, when the next start of content comes out, because that way they don't have to worry about like scaling them or anything like that. You can go through and you can actually level up with the trust as if they were your team.
I wonder if when you max them out, I wonder if they just get more abilities to speed up the whole
No one,
dungeoning.
I've been looking at it. No one really knows, and it looks like there's only one achievement related to it. No one even knows what the requirements to get the achievement are,
Right.
because it's all question marked.
Yeah.
You get the title trusted friend. So has everyone got to be 80? Like,
Right.
It's a weird decision, and I know we have squadrons up to 60, but the squadrons can't go to 70 yet.
Yeah.
Because then it would be like, oh, you're just doing squadrons to 70, and then we're not going to have squadrons to 80. So this is the replacement. So I don't know. It's interesting, and you can't send them out. You can't level them like everyone else.
Right.
Because you can send out retainers, you can send out squadrons, level them without doing it. You have to run the dungeon. So I'm actually going to try that tonight as my warrior. I'm going to run the trust and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it.
It'll be. I am very curious to see what comes out of the trust system, because I think it's a great system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good addition to the game, and it's got potential to get better, and it's got potential to be absolutely nothing.
Right.
And I'm curious to see how they proceed with it.
I feel like no, because it's going to be so. As time goes on, it's going to be so much harder. If people want to experience the first few patches, it's going to be so much harder for people to find real people to pair up with, team up with, and so I feel like the trust system is really going to help the newcomers, honestly, and the people that just don't want to sit there and wait for like 40 minutes for a queue to pop, you know? Unless they're a healer or a tank, of course.
The
Or
only
they're a
problem with
healer
that,
and they
though, is-
want slow pulling tanks and not tanks that pull the entire dungeon in one pull.
The only problem with the trust, though, is they're all 71, so someone has to spend the time to level them to 80.
Yeah.
So like, is the reward there? Is there a reason for me to do this?
I'm also curious at what, like, based on their leveling pace, if you started at 71 and they started at 71 and you did nothing but dungeons with them, will they hit 80 at the same time you do?
Yeah.
That's a big question on my mind as well, because if they don't, you're eventually going to outpace them and not be able to do dungeons with your trust.
So overall,
Yeah,
I mean, there's not much to do endgame wise. They're already putting out the next raids in about a week now, and then we're
That's
gonna have the
usually
Savage
what
mode 2 weeks
happens.
after that. Oh, I know.
Most people are going to take like up to a month to 2 to complete everything.
Yeah.
We just did it in like not even a week.
We
you
slowly
know?
leveled way too quickly.
Yeah, you really did. Well, you did, Ben. You went crazy. You
I know.
over
Actually, I
2
was slower than a
jobs.
lot of people. Dan
Actually,
beat
not
everyone.
2 jobs. No.
I beat everyone because I was the healer. Benny wanted to go Gunbreaker. Kevin and Sean both wanted to go Dancer. So they start at level 60.
Yeah,
so they're
that
like,
makes
Dan,
sense.
you're going to do all of this
Yeah.
on your healer so that we can get 60 to 70. Which, for the record, if you have friends that want to do that, as a healer, take the offer. You'll never be under-leveled for anything, and you'll have abilities that'll help you through stuff.
And for the record, I'm returning the favor. I have my
I
healer
know,
that I'm running
I
with
know.
you, and tank. I've got whatever he needs me to fill to get him in dungeons.
Ooh, that's nice. That's
So.
an offer I couldn't pass up on, Dan. Jeez.
So overall, though, I mean, there's not much more to say. The story was incredible.
Yes.
I can't wait to see what's coming next.
Did anyone catch the 1.0 reference at the very end?
The what?
The
1.0
one,
reference.
yeah,
What was
1.0
it?
reference. It was that. Well, it was from the song "Answers," so it was not a spoiler or anything. But look to those who walk before to lead those who walk after. They said that. Nobody caught it.
No.
I barely,
He wasn't there for 1.0.
I barely remember things.
No, it's
to begin
answers
with.
though. Answers. Like the reboot also had answers.
You're talking to the guy that last night was thinking to himself because he watched a show where someone said, "Remember the words you just said," to which I thought, I don't remember the words I just said. So I would be very awful in a situation
Man,
like that.
oh,
So
when-
I can't remember stuff.
When I
like
saw that, I was like, man, that's a good wink back to Realm Reborn, and nobody caught it. Wow.
I think they're doing that a lot, though. They're doing a lot of like going back to other things because I mean, half the dungeons are old bosses.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for New Game Plus as well.
yeah.
For that.
I want to see what that reward is. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm wondering if Trust in New Game Plus is just more for like not really any rewards,
Watch
but if
it.
you wanted it,
Yeah.
There's
Here.
going to be a
See-
mount attached to it. There's going to be.
Right. I want to do the New Game Plus because I have reached a point where I'm like kind of invested. I want to remember how we got here.
Yeah.
Because it's like
there's
you
a great
can't
video
even-
series in Comic Storian.
I want to play to see how we got it.
Sure.
Because I mean, it is one of those games where once you have completed the main story, you can't repeat it.
Yeah.
Unless you make a brand new character.
Yep.
You can, or you can just pretend. Actually, no, you can. You can just watch the cutscenes, go into the same dungeons. You can. You can.
But it's
guys.
not like actually
I know,
playing.
I
It's not the
know.
same.
It doesn't say quest complete or whatever. I get it.
Exactly. But I think it's fantastic. I think I compared it to Wrath of the Lich King expansion of World of Warcraft, where
peaking. It was the peak.
it was the peak. It
Yeah.
was a great time to jump on, regardless of playing it before this expansion.
Yeah.
It's got a ton of stuff that if you have been playing, it's still going to be amazing.
Yep.
I've been using that comparison because I know a lot of people that did play WoW that didn't want to play 14, but then I said that to them and they're like, well, I'm getting into 14.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
a lot of people are jumping on board now, and
Oh, yeah.
they're saying that they love it a lot more than WoW at this point, just because the storytelling is there. The storytelling is there.
Yeah.
I mean, just that you actually connect with your character because you don't have 1,000 of them.
Exactly.
You know, like it's just that's why I've always loved Final Fantasy above anything else, because you can have your one character and you get attached to that character and you can just switch jobs on the fly.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you
My
want to?
little potato.
Yeah.
Eventually, you guys will notice my glamour. Thank
Too
you, guys.
small.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching this. I hope what do you guys think of the expansion down below? Let us know, and we'll be back to getting the videos out like normal this week. So hope you guys have been enjoying the direction we've been taking them. It's been enjoyable for the three of us.
Yeah.
I know Natalie's liking it. If you want to get more Dan, he's over at Dan T Streamer at twitch.tv, Dan T Streamer, and she is at what?
I'm at
Twitch.tv.
what? I'm at what?
The direction he did that, instead of he said twitch.tv/DanTStreamer, he's DanTStreamer at twitch.tv.
It's not confusing at all. That's the
And she's
actual
at
link.
twitch.tv/ZauticaCandy. Oh, look, I got hers right.
There you go.
And I'm Benny.
And you
And
can
he's-
find him at Comic Storian, guys.
Yes. Or at twitch.tv/EligibleMonster.
Absolutely.
Playing Final Fantasy 14 on Fridays and Sundays. All right, guys, thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us.